I want to bring this up, speaking of another death in the entertainment industry that got a lot of headlines last month, which is Sarah Jones, the production assistant that died on the Gregg Allman biopic. William Hurt he didn't do an interview. This is kind of nefarious. He wrote an email to a friend, and that friend gave the email to the LA Times. What seems kind of like a dick thing to do, but
yeah.
But William Hurt was saying, they told us as soon as we got on set that if a train started coming, we had a minute to get out of the way, and William Hurt kind of protested. But then he went and did the scene anyway, and a train started coming, and he said they had 30 seconds at best to get out of the way. So I read a lot of the comments on the Hollywood Reporter, which is where this thing ran earlier today, and some of them had a good point. If he felt uncomfortable, they wouldn't have shot the scene without his involvement. I mean, if he said, no, I'm not doing this, then they just wouldn't have been able to shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be blowback on this. I think that we haven't heard the last of this, but now with this email, I mean, this is, I'm still trying to grapple with what's happened here. Why are they shooting? First of all, they should never have been there. Never. This is just a bad production idea. Why are you going to be on a track when the train's coming? I don't understand what the logic, the rationale was for doing this way. You're endangering people's lives on the set.
Yeah, I mean, the rationale was they're an indie production and they wanted to get the shot no matter what. The rationale certainly didn't have anything to do with safety. You're going by the protocol that you're supposed to go by.
Yeah, I mean, this is where a big studio, well, generally, I mean, there have been obviously accidents, tragic accidents on big studio films too, but this is really, I do think people need to be held accountable on this, because this is just wretchedly vicious, what happened here. This should never have been. I don't care if you're going for a shot or whatever. And why couldn't someone, like you said, they make a big point. If William Hurt didn't want to do it, you just should have said, no, we're not going to do it.
But address this, Dean. Isn't it just the nature of being in an independent film production? I mean, everybody kind of gets their hands dirty, and everybody understands that it's like shoot and run, however you're able to do it. Is that the mentality that you think kind of takes over? And
I think so, and also, I mean, no one wants to say anything because it's their job, it's their livelihood, and let's face it, maybe even William Hurt himself had some reservations about saying no to the scene because it might brand him as being difficult to work with or something like that, And so he was kind of in the same boat as the people who were, not big names like Sarah Jones, who didn't stand up because they too were afraid of not being team players and so forth. So
because she expressed major reservations too. I mean, at least I know she did to her father the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Who's the...
And by the way, let me say one more thing. Randall Miller, the director, has a history of doing, there's videotape footage of him on a previous production, sending a kid out into a field of cows, with no safety precautions, and him sort of joking about it and everything. Yeah. So he's got some problems in his defense,
Let me ask you guys this: William Hurt's in the movie. Obviously, someone is putting up some serious money for this. If William Hurt is in this,
I'm sure it's financed by private company. I mean, it's an independent production, and if they get a name actor. Actually, the selling point would be a biopic on Gregg Allman.
I mean, but I would think, this movie is not. Is this movie going to really get made now, or?
I would say no. I would say this movie needs to not be finished.